So, my initiative is Imagine with a E, and it is to help educate and to drive imagination. As I was talking about, I love to learn, and I feel that it's wrong that a lot of people are not in the do not have the luxury or do not have the privilege to do so with their time and with their resources. So, in the next couple of minutes, I'll go through the inception, how the idea came to me, why Imagine in the first place, how do we take it forward, what is the working business model for it, what is the opportunity like for the future, and a quick SWOT analysis to hedge it against all the strengths and weaknesses as such. So the inception. This is back in November, and end of November, early December, and it was just around Christmas coming about, and I had a couple of my friends from all over the world. We were doing this Secret Santa initiative, and I knew in the back of my head that I was thinking about the social impact project that could make a change, and nothing like I was waiting for the idea to come to me. So when we were doing this whole Secret Santa thing, I was wondering how nice it would be to, actually be a virtual Santa to a person who really needs it, a person who can make some use of it and to have an impact for that brief moment in time on somebody's life. So that's literally how I thought of it. It was a very small niche idea. I did not have a motive at that point, but I was like, there is something I can do with it. I talked to Leah and she guided me in a direction where I could think more about it. And so I started thinking about the sustainability of it and how to make it happen. And that's when I realized that, one person doing philanthropy or giving charity once a year is like it's too much pressure on that one person to have like a huge impact in that one go. So what I thought of was maybe there's a possibility of doing bite-sized donations, having like a modicum amount of donation where me and say four of my friends or five of us, we come together, we pool in our resources, and that's some money out there that can actually have like a sizable impact on somebody's life. But even at that point, I knew I wanted to do something along these lines. I wanted to reach out to people. I wanted to have a bite-sized charity going on, but I was still lacking a motive, and I was thinking about it, pondering over it, and that's when I came across this news one day when I was sitting with my family across the television. I came to know about this lady from LSR, which is one of our very reputed colleges in India. This was so she met with her untimely demise because she did not have a laptop, and that confounded me beyond anything I could imagine. I was like, why would people commit suicide if they don't have a laptop? And I started looking into it. I was questioning what was the reason behind it, and that's when I realized she was a smart student. She was a scholarship student. She did not come from a very well-off background, not financially, but she made her way around it, and she was in her next to final year, I think, and that's when the pandemic happened and everything, and like every shop had to close shut. So she was left. She was sent back home, and she did not have the resources to continue her education. And at that point, her father had taken too much loan. There was no way around it. So she even had the scholarship for getting these resources, but the funds were tied up somewhere. And because of the lack of this communication and resources, she had to take her own life because she did not think she had a choice. And then I started digging a little more, and I realized that wasn't the first case. And like for a lot of us, this pandemic has, paved a path for a really smooth transition into this e-world. And maybe sometimes we take it for granted. Like every Thursday evening, I was having these like really interesting sessions with Leah and other members of Coacharya from across the globe, and I could connect with them. Like I'll buy the shitty internet, but I could do that. While some people did not have the basic infrastructure to, continue their education, and that that is something that hit me slightly. And I was like, fine, I have found my motive. If there's something I can do about it, if there's something I can do to make it better, why not? So I was pleasantly surprised when Kavya was talking about her project, because it's in a lot of ways very similar in terms of who the recipient is and how can we go about it. But I think the scale is a little small, and it's something that's doable in the near future um, on a smaller extent. So yeah, the idea here is to uh, offer education. Initially, the short term is to offer education in terms of giving them a tablet, sponsor an education tablet for these people, and connect them to the schools so that they can continue the education. But in the long run, the idea is to offer not just education and not just a medium for this education, but provide quality education for all. In India, the digital divide is too big. I think in the world, the digital divide is too big. And there are people who can afford things, and there are people who cannot. And I think I'm so against capitalism that this is also my that one bit, so that people can come on equal footing. And I think a tablet, an education tablet, not which is not just meant for education as such. It's meant, you will provide a platform for people to pursue the arts, for people to look into history, for people to pursue what they want in a monitored fashion, but at least give them that platform to do so. So from a novice idea to a concept with motive, and after adding some thoughts, some analysis, guidance from Leah, Magda, and all gratitude for Valsi, I present to you my case. So why Imagine? I went through, so every year, I think annually there's a giving, giving India, giving Australia, different places, they release their stats on, how much was donated that year, and, what are the trends are saying, etc. So this is from a survey of around 800 people in 2017. And what I found was the annual donation in India on a respective platform is around 3,500, which is around 40 US dollars. Then I came across the fact that, like the main motivator behind people donating and doing some bit of philanthropy is it makes them feel good about themselves, that instant, the temporary gratification. Children have been the most popular cause amongst donors to take an initiative, and a lot of them, almost 45% of them, said that if people knew what was happening with the money, they would be more encouraged to donate in the future. So a little incident with me that happened was last year. I was alone at home. It was just around the pandemic was starting, and all my roommates had gone out. So I was alone at home. It was almost evening, and there were two men came knocking, and they started talking about a charity about female education. And although I was interested to hear them out, it was like late in the evening. I was alone. I was not very comfortable, and but I still engaged them, and we went through some 20-30 minutes of this discussion on what can happen. But after that entire time, the amount, like I had a amount in mind that fits me, because I do keep donating from time to time, so I don't pool everything in one go. But the amount they were expecting was like quite um, quite some, and that's when I had to pull back. Although I wanted to help them out, the amount was not something that worked for me. And keeping all this in mind, keeping the stats about children and why people do all this, I realized that if you have that bite-sized donations, see the impact of those bite-sized donations, there is nothing like it. So I like to call it imagine it forward, or like pay it forward. So here is some calculation for what I was thinking. The education tablet is going to cost around, say, 4,000 to 6,000, which is around 60 to 80 USD, somewhere in the middle. And an additional 20 US dollars for some overhead costs that I could think of, some like, for the distribution, for internet, for Wi-Fi, for monitoring purposes, for the backend team, for the course content that we will come up with later for people who can afford. So I was thinking along the lines of somewhere from $60 to $100. There can be different schemes depending on what people can pay. But even so, $60 and $100 is a lot in one go. But you do realize $60 to $100 can change someone's life. And so what if you just go Dutch in this prospect? And if you go Dutch with five people, with five of your friends, or like six of your friends, it just the amount just keeps on reducing. So for $100, if it's split between five people, it's $20 US. Split between seven is 15, and split between nine is 12. Similarly, for 60, which is on the lower end, people can just provide $12 and it will offer education tablet for a person out there in the rural outskirts who may not have all the means, who may not have their food, but they will have uh, an assurance that they can study and they can make something of it in the future. So the contribution per person decreases. It's modicum philanthropy creating a sizable impact, a sizable systemic impact. And how it works is on the right, you can see this infographic that's just like a representation of how I thought about it. So this main circle is just me and four of my friends, and we come together and we do this thing. We do this initiative. We all chip in, say $12 each, and that's something we spend on a meal, right? You won't think twice about it. And there's someone out there gets a tablet, and we carry it forward. We imagine it forward. I do it with my next circle of, say, family members or my colleagues from office, and they can do it with their friends or their roommates, etc. So this is how you imagine it forward. It's through word of mouth, but you get to see the real time impact of this project, and you get to be a part of it with very modicum philanthropy. So that's catering to the sustainability part of it. My case is very simple. The target donors are from 25 to 45 years old. This is mainly coming from the fact that almost 80% of people who donate in India fall in this category. The recent graduates are more susceptible to the cause and would understand, and so that's primarily why that's 20-year age category. The target recipients, I was thinking from middle school to college students, because the lower school kids, they still have some government grants and government funding going for them till class five. The education is more or less taken care of. But beyond that, from middle school to college students, where you finally start exploring what you want to do, or what will make you better. So that's my target set of recipients who can basically use a tablet, use it for the right purposes, and make something of it. My schemes, the tentative schemes I was thinking about was like four major sources. One is the main 60 to 100 pool, where you can sponsor a tablet, and then followed by refurbished devices. A lot of us have too many devices to, some that we don't even use, some that are old, and we have our new gadgets. So there's a possibility of donating these refurbished devices if you want, and the backend team can take care of remodeling it, and it's in such a usable condition, and pay forward. Sponsor courses. So that is something that comes up later in the timeline, which I'll talk about in the next slide. But initially, the idea is just to bridge the gap, just to make education available in these virtual times. But eventually, it can serve as a medium for offering quality education, which only some of us are privy to in private schools and public schools. And maybe not so much the quality of the government schools is tentative, and that's my final goal. If people can, if there is a possibility of providing equal education to all, that's the best footing you can give to anybody. So that's my third thing: sponsor courses from Coursera, from edX, from Udemy, from different skill shares, not just education, but offer courses on painting and photography, and basically help them grow and know themselves so that they are not subjected to the life, so that they have a choice. And the last and final bit is like, once you have sponsored a kid, you can go ahead with a continuation program of $1 a month, which basically will take care of their Wi-Fi needs and their course needs and, the electricity and the stuff behind it. So basically overhead operational costs. The marketing, as I said, primarily will be in like entirely word of mouth. It's a pay it forward, imagine it forward initiative. You do it, I do it once with you, you take it forward, you do it once with your friends, and it just spreads. You don't have to do it more than once, or you don't have to do it more than twice, but that's how it grows. The operations is it's going to be a very small back-end team that I'm thinking of that will be needed to do, who really need to do the groundwork, who need to select these people who are, who need these infrastructure at the earliest for whatever reason. They need to filter them. They need to set up the accounts and the transactions and how it cross flows and, do the whole connecting in process. And my target for the first year will be to help 20 kids imagine. And by some back of the envelope calculation, I think, so 20 kids will mean like 50 people, like 100 of these initiatives. And if I do it once and I carry it forward and I do it with somebody else, so that comes to around 50 people. So the idea for the next 1 year is to get a proof of concept and start. I think the opportunities are endless with this. How I see it, and all that's left to do is begin. So start and find that group of 5 to 6 close family friends, be it friends, family, colleagues, roommates, to sponsor that first gadget and carry it forward. The second, for the second year, I'm thinking, if it gains some traction, if we finally enable to see these 20 people through, if we sponsor these 20 gadgets, then that's where the operations part comes in. We recruit ambassadors, and we basically there's a lot of alum networks. My own alum network. There are different um, clubs in each of these colleges that do such initiatives. So get in touch with them, get in touch with CSR, get in touch with different, small to medium sized companies, and have a sustained channel, have an established channel uh, connecting these respective benefactors to the recipients and communicate the impact of what's happening. My third goal will be to create that digital connect platform on your mobile itself, like something that you can go up one day, you can select the person you want to help out, you can select your the scheme you want to do, and it's all seamless. That's where we start moving forward. We go from 20 to 100 to 500. The final two are my long-term goals, which I think is what's going to be a game changer. Um, Availing this education is good. Availing quality education is great. But for one thing, one step ahead will be the mentee network. And I value it so much after my entire interaction with YLP, with Coacharya for the last couple of 3 months. So I was thinking, what is a way to keep giving without, it being too much of a thing in your way. And one thing you can always give, and it's, you have an abundance of, is like your knowledge, your own knowledge of your job, of career, of life, of moral support, of, the prospect of investing, whatever you're comfortable with. You can shell it. You can pass it on to these people you are sponsoring. So what you do is you give one gadget, and then the possibilities are endless, because it will create that channel, and it will give this more the two-way transaction, and you can share stories and thoughts, and yeah, in return you'll understand it will be a meaningful source of gratification that you're actually doing something about it. You can basically help them, land jobs, have more moral support, and eventually, as I was saying, my long-term goal will be to curate the content via the thriving edtech ecosystem in India, in China, in US, and beyond. So there are too many courses that are on edX, on Udemy, TEDx, Skillshare, Tapchi. These all they are mainly focused on bringing this education to people who can afford. And through this initiative, and if you sponsor a course, you can get it to people who really need it. So yeah, so that's my long-term goal. A quick SWOT analysis of it. The strengths I see in it are like the seamless transition that we will create towards virtual education. Bite-sized benefaction is a big up because, as I said, people on an annual basis donate $3,500 or 40 US dollars. And that is important. That creates a lot of impact. But if people are able to see that impact, that will encourage them more. It will inculcate a sense of donating more frequently. I feel so when you pool in these resources, it's there's nothing you can't do. So you will get to see the real time impact in an individual's life, and with the right instrument and some direction, even one small but significant step, it will be one small but significant step towards equality. Weaknesses, strong weakness, I feel is that this entire initiative will require very strong vigilance, regular monitoring of the tablet, and for what purpose it is being used, how we condition it to for the right things. Another thing is that the growth of the initiative is dependent upon the it's word of mouth. It's in ambassador outreach program, and it will depend upon the ambassador enthusiasm. So if that lies low, it may not look so good. Um, so the need for groundwork is real. So there is a need for the back end to happen quickly to scale it up. And there are everyday barriers that you can't do anything about. You can give the gadget to a person, but if the person doesn't have the required, food, or the health to carry on, or the electricity, or Wi-Fi, that becomes an issue. So we need to think beyond that. The opportunities, as I said, were endless, and I do feel if done right, and if because this has such a potential to gain traction, because you're not losing, both parties are winning this way. There's a potential for quality education and developing skills by leveraging edtech that pushes for equal footing. So it's not just education; it's also skills that you need for an interview, for understanding your role, for consulting, for marketing, for whatever you want. I do feel that it is very important to inculcate a sense of volunteering in most people. And this is again one way that you can do it via mentoring, and something I've seen this as that. And a lot of India is right now susceptible to backward thinking due to the lack of knowledge and awareness, and that is true. As long as they don't have the knowledge, they can't choose what's right from wrong. And so here lies a potential to change mindsets from ground up. Some threats are because it's a capital driven thing. It's susceptible to capital damage, and potential threat to lack of enthusiasm as such. So that's me.